Hello everybody, welcome back to the Botania mod showcase here, tutorial type thing that we've got going on. Today, we've got a large assortment of mana generating flowers that you can make just by having the altar, followed by the mana spreader and all that stuff. So, I'm going to show you how to make a couple of these. If you see the ones with red glass, that means we don't have access to them yet. However, further down in the mod pack as the series goes, we will have access to them. However, I'm just going to show you the ones that we do have access to. So that's the ones with the barrels open that don't have red blocks on top of them. But don't worry, they're still good. And I don't think that just because you don't have access to 3 flowers that generate mana doesn't mean that you shouldn't be creating mana at the most efficient bit that you can. Otherwise, how do you get to those? So anyway, let's get on with this tutorial here. So, let's start up with the one that I showed you all in the first episode here of this, where we made the simple mana setup here. And that is the Hydrangeas right here. So, in order to make this, it's simply just 2 mystical blue petals, followed by 2 mystical cyan petals. Throwing that in there and then grabbing some seeds, which I forgot to grab. But once you throw some seeds in there, bam, you got the Hydrangeas. So, how do you set this one up? Well, simple. You just need a water source so that it just collects it from there. And then you've got your nice flowers there. If we grab a wand of the forest here, you can then see that that's generating its mana right into there. It's automatically connected, and our mana pool is filling up. Moving over to, this is a Rose Arcana right here. This one uses experience, drop from players, mobs, whatever you can get experience from, and that generates it into mana right here. And then you can fill your mana pool up with that. So to make it, you need a rune of mana, a mystical lime petal, a mystical pink petal, 2 of them actually, and 2 mystical purple petals. Throwing this into here, followed by some seeds, which we'll actually just grab a ton of them. Followed by some seeds will give you the Rose Arcana. And if we grab a bottle of enchanting right here, you can see that as we throw it, it's getting absorbed by the flower here, and it's being generated into mana. That mana spreader is throwing into that mana pool, so I could see this at the bottom of mob farms being very useful. Maybe a basic on and off switch so that you're not, having to have this Rose Arcana just hog all your experience here. But that's a very useful bit for that one, so I would like to use that one. That's probably one of my top. Anyway, next one we have is a 𝙤𝙬. Now the 𝙤𝙬 is a little bit weird. It eats leaves. So if we get leaves over here, and it'll check, and it'll just eat leaves and generate mana, so it describes it as cannibalism, which I can definitely see that, but there is one more cannibalistic flower that's in this, but I don't know if we can get to that one, if it's covered or not. I'm pretty sure it isn't. Anyway, to make this one, you need a rune of gluttony, a mystical green petal, 2 mystical red petals, and a mystical lime petal. Throwing these all into the apothecary, plus some seeds, will allow you to make the 𝙤𝙬. Moving on, we have an Endo Flame. An Endo Flame absorbs coal. They burn through fuel faster than F-150. There you go. So, let's say you get about 19 miles per gallon with this one, but all you need are 2 mystical brown petals, a mystical light gray petal, and a mystical red petal. Throwing that in there combined with a seed will give you your Endo Flame in about 19 miles per gallon, like I said. Coming up next, we have a Thermal Lily. Lava. Because hell yeah, that's what I got for my little caption here. So to make it, you need a rune of earth, a rune of fire, a mystical red petal, and 2 mystical orange petals. Throwing these into the apothecary will give you your Thermal Lily. And what the Thermal Lily does is it takes it takes lava from over here. So if I actually hop into survival mode and I just break this here, you can see that it's just going to absorb it here. It's going to turn it into mana, and that's going to fill up our pool. That's how that works. Pretty cool, I know, right? So let's move on to this one's actually a really cool one. This is called an Entropium. Entropinium. I don't know how to say it. But this one's actually really cool because check this out. So it requires 2 mystical white petals, 2 mystical gray petals, 2 mystical red petals, a rune of wrath, and a rune of fire. Throwing these all into your apothecary, followed by some seeds, will give you this Entropinium flower. Now, this one is really nice because, well, if I just grab a flint and steel really quick. I was very unprepared for this. The really neat thing about this one is that it absorbs TNT damage. So I can place a TNT down here confidently, and it absorbs it and puts it into mana. This is a great way to scare your friends, but it's not my fault if you get split-faced by a keyboard, so do it at your own risk. Moving on, we have a blocked one, but don't worry, we'll get to that later. However, the next one we have here is a Gormalis. I don't know, botanical names are weird. Anyway, to make this beautiful flower that absorbs food, you need a rune of summer, a rune of fire, a mystical red petal, a mystical light gray petal, 2 of them, and 2 mystical yellow petals. Throwing these all into here, plus some seeds, will give you your beautiful flower. And the cool thing about this one is you just throw food at it. That's pretty cool. It reminds me of like 5th grade when we all had to do some like weird shit to our food so that no one would take it. So like you'd either like, I don't know, you'd sit on the container, you spit in the container, something disgusting like that. Moving on, let's set the time today. Moving on, we have the 𝙤𝙤𝙪'𝙧𝙚. This is made using a rune of water, a rune of summer, a mystical black petal, 2 mystical green petals, and 2 mystical lime petals. Throwing them all into the apothecary, followed by some seeds, will give you the 𝙤𝙤𝙪'𝙧𝙚. So, one thing you should know about this one is that it only works in slime chunks. So, I'm not in a slime chunk right now, but if we were to go to a slime chunk and hook up a slime farm to this, you would be generating mana from the slime balls that are only in that slime chunk. If you build it anywhere that isn't in a slime chunk, say right here, the slime balls will simply just fall out and you won't be able to use them for mana. So know that you're in a slime chunk before you use that flower. And that is all of the flowers that you have access to right now. Choose wisely. I would say, if I'm giving the netherite rating right here. So let's see. If I give my netherite rating, I give my gold rating, and I give my diamond rating for the top 3 flowers, I'm gonna have to go with the top one being my hydro boy over here. Our second place simply going to, where are you at? There you are. The Gormalis. This one's actually really nice. And that being that, well, you just throw food at it and it makes mana. If you have a farm set up, that's so easy. This one's just water. This is like a dam right here, except, you know, not really. And then my third place is probably gonna go to the XP flower right here, because you can build this at the bottom of an XP farm and it'll just hug your XP, you know, everything's all great. It's like that annoying kid at gym class who took like 5 balls for his friends when, you know, really such an asshole. Thank you, Tommy. Anyway, that's gonna be it for today's video here. I hope to see you all in the next one, because the next one I think we're gonna be covering how to get kind of like the miscellaneous items in this, so like the pixie dust, maybe some terra steel, just stuff like that. So anyway, that's gonna be it for today's video here. I hope you all enjoyed my Botania tutorial bit for this episode. Tune in next time where we get our terra steel, our pixie dust, and then we can open up the final 3 flowers, which are also really good flowers, so you don't want to miss that. Anyway, that's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I hope to see all of you in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.